Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for staying with us, and we have our final presentation for today, which will be from Madalyn Sklar. Madalyn is a social media influencer, blogger, author, podcaster, and business coach known for her Twitter expertise. Every Thursday, you can find her hosting a Twitter chat at Twitter Smarter, and where you can connect and learn more about Twitter and Twitter tips. She also has recently been named one of the 50 must-follow women entrepreneurs in 2017 by the Huffington Post. Madalyn, please begin when you're ready.
All right. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I'm Madalyn Sklar, and we're going to learn some really neat things about Twitter today. But first, I'd like to do a quick poll to get an idea of everybody's level of Twitter experience. So if we can bring up that poll. And if everybody would please take a moment to click on the one that best says what your level of experience is, that would be so great. And we're seeing some really interesting numbers here. We got some people that have no experience at all with Twitter, and I hope that after this presentation you'll be excited to go get a Twitter account and start tweeting. And we got a lot of beginners here, and I see we got some people that have some moderate experience, not too many experts, a few. That's always good. Love having some experts in the room because maybe you guys can help answer some of the questions in the chat room. This looks great. Thank you all so much for taking a moment to do our poll. So I think we're ready to get this going. So give us a moment here. Okay, so we're going to look at Twitter marketing tactics, strategies that work. I don't think I need to really introduce myself. I think you guys did a great job of saying all these wonderful things about me. Thank you so very much. So we're going to look at 6 strategies that will propel you on Twitter. And I'm going to be sharing a formula that will help you stand out, be more productive, and help you measure the impact on Twitter. So we're going to look at these items. We're going to look at your Twitter profile. We're going to look at your timeline. Those are the tweets that you're putting out. We're going to look at Twitter lists. Twitter lists are a great way to organize your Twitter. And then Twitter chats. I heard in the previous presentation they were talking a little bit about Twitter chats. We're going to dive a little bit further into that. We're going to talk about measuring. We're going to talk about the Twitter analytics and how to measure your impact. And we're going to look at Twitter tools. So let's start with the first item, your Twitter profile. This is what people see when they go to your profile. And what we're going to do is we're going to take an audit. We're going to look at some different profiles and talk about what they're doing, how it's helping them get attention on Twitter. And we are going to talk about having a compelling bio because that's how you grab attention. That's how you draw people in. You know, we're talking about your Twitter profile first because this is a really important part of your overall Twitter marketing strategy. And the reason why is if you're tweeting, and I hope you guys are tweeting, you know, the official hashtag, I saw it was mentioned a few times. I saw it was in the chat box a few times. Maybe somebody could put it in the chat box again to remind everybody, is pound KTDRR16. And that's the hashtag you want to use when you're talking about this conference. If you guys, you know, hear me say something that you want to tweet out, be sure to put the hashtag in. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later about why using the hashtag is so important when we're all, you know, trying to talk together. With that hashtag, you know, you can connect with a whole group of people, and today we're all trying to connect. You're listening to the presentation, some of you are in the chat box connecting, but you could also go over to Twitter right now and just go over there and do a quick tweet. This would actually be a great little exercise to start off. Do a tweet introducing yourself, put the hashtag in, and then come back over here with the presentation, and then later go back, type in the hashtag, and go read through and see who all tweeted, and you could go and connect with all of these great people. You could go learn about them, and that's why this Twitter profile we're talking about is so important, because what's going to happen is later you go back, you look at all the people that did this quick, typing in, introducing themselves and putting the hashtag in, and what are you going to do? You're going to go look at their profile. You're going to look at their bio so you can learn more about who they are and what they do, whether they did it from the organization they work at or represent, or from their personal, with their personal branding. This is a great way to connect with people, but having that great profile, having a compelling bio is so incredibly important, and we're going to be looking at some examples of that. Also having a good profile image. That's the square picture that is on your profile, and this is with all your social media. But on Twitter, you want to have either your company logo, or if it's for your own personal brand, you want to have a really good headshot. And then also there's a header image. It's a big image at the top of your Twitter profile. It's a large size, 1,500 pixels across by 500 pixels tall. So it's a very large size, 1,500 across by 1,500 high. And so that's your header image. I look at that as real estate that you can do so much with. You can do a lot to really stand out on Twitter. And then, as I mentioned before, I really recommend you do an audit on your account every, say, 3 to 6 months or so, just to see if the bio is still relevant, your header image is still relevant. When you have an event coming up, you could use your header to promote it. There's so much you can do. I want to start off by looking at the center's profile. And this is a nice looking profile. I'm not here to review and critique. I just want to show some examples so you can look and see how other people are utilizing Twitter. And so when I was talking about the header image, that's, the really large image across at the top, so you can see that's big, and there's a lot you can do with that. Some people just put up a photograph, and some people actually really think about, having a picture and some text, and I'll show you mine in a moment so you can see how I'm doing it. But let's look at a few others here. I really like the way Enact is using their Twitter profile. I think this really stands out nicely. You got a nice logo here that really pops. Interesting header photo, but it kind of cuts off, so might be something to rethink. They got a nice bio there. Also, I have the Center for Advanced Communication Policy. I think they've got a really nice looking profile. You can see that the header image is really nice, the logo's nice, got a good bio. And then I want to show you mine so you can see an example with the header image at the top and how I'm utilizing that to really make it pop that, hey, I'm a Twitter marketing strategist, and I'm a blogger and a podcaster, and I have a Twitter chat. I really want people to see very quickly when I'm tweeting and they're like, well, who is this Madeline Sklar? They're going to see very easily who I am and what I do. And then let's kind of zoom in and look at the bios, because the bios are really important. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be on Twitter and you're going to click and you're going to want to read and know exactly who is this person or who is this organization or this company. And I love the profile, the bio on the profile for the center. I think this bio is very well written. A bio is 160 characters. That's the max. And I think the center is doing a great job of utilizing all of that space. Too many times I see people put together a bio that's a one-liner, and you don't want to do that. You want to definitely have a bio that's very descriptive, that really showcases exactly who you are and what you do, whether it's a company, an organization, nonprofit, a person, whatever it is. Make sure that when people come over here, they have a very good and clear idea of who you are and what you do. I think Enact did a really good job on theirs as well. There's also a place to put your location. So you see they have Boston, and there's a place for your website. And so you definitely want to put that information in there. I think that this one is well done as well. And, these profiles are good. I'm going to show you how on mine, I'm going to show you a couple of things that I did that you may not know about or didn't realize you didn't think about that you can do. So mine actually has a hashtag. I have my Twitter Smarter hashtag because I am the host of a Twitter chat, and I want to put the hashtag in. So if you are hosting something with a hashtag, or you want to use a hashtag to make something stand out, you see how it stands out because it's a link. So the links on your bios are going to be a different color. It's going to stand out. So on mine, you can see that Twitter Smarter really stands out. If I want to make a keyword stand out, like I've already changed my bio. My bio is actually a little bit different. And on my bio, if you're looking at my Twitter, the first word says entrepreneur. If I want to make that word stand out, I can make it a hashtag and put #entrepreneur. And now it's going to be that green color, and it would really pop on the page there. It would really pop out to people when they see it. So that's another way of utilizing a hashtag to make something stand out. I also have a link in my bio. And I think this is really underutilized. I think when I'm talking to people and asking them about this, a lot of people said they tell me they didn't know they could do this. I have a link to my podcast in my bio, and that has really helped me tremendously. You can see I have my .com further down because there's a specific place for location and your .com, or you know, a link to your website. But there's, I want to make sure that in my bio that people can easily click on that and go right to my podcast, because if you were to click on that link and you look at the true URL, the actual link, it's a really long one. It goes to iTunes, and so it's very long. It wouldn't even fit on here. So I'm using what's called Bitly, which is a way to shorten a link, and I'm going to give you a link to that in just a moment. But I like to use Bitly because this is a way to shorten a link, and I have another one at the bottom here, and this allows me to have enough room because of the 160 characters. I want to have enough room to put that in there. So if you're not familiar with Bitly, it's a free site, bitly.com, and this allows you to go in and put any link in there, and it will shorten it. So that is bit.ly or bit.ly/ and it will come up with some letters and numbers to keep it short, and they give you the opportunity to also customize it, because if we look back at mine, I've got bit.ly/Twitter Smarter, so I was actually able to customize it because nobody else was using that. So you get a lot of flexibility. So I definitely recommend checking that out to shorten, and this is for anything, not just for Twitter, this is for anything you're doing where you need a shorter link. So I definitely recommend that. Now we're going to look at timeline. Timeline are your tweets, and this is a really important thing to look at. We want to talk about, you know, what are people seeing with your tweets? What are you posting? What kind of information are you sharing on Twitter? How are you grabbing attention on Twitter with your tweets? We're going to look at different types of tweets that make up your Twitter timeline. We're going to look at 7 different items. First one we're going to look at is what I call promotional, and this is where you tweet things that promote what you're doing, whether it's for your company, your organization, or even for yourself. Now, with my examples, this is for my own personal branding, and because people see me as a resource, people refer to me as a Twitter expert, I like to share Twitter tips. So this would be an example of me doing something that's a little bit more promotional. When you're doing promotional tweets, you don't want all of your tweets to be promotional. You don't even want to do 50%. You want to do maybe 20 or 30% that's promotional. So you want to think about that when you're starting to tweet more and put things out there so that people can learn more about what you do. I realized years ago that people didn't necessarily know what I was doing. They didn't know much about me. So by tweeting things like this, people are like, okay, she knows a lot about Twitter. She's sharing some expert advice. Another type of tweet that I do to promote, and I'm showing you examples so that you can use this to take away how you can apply this to what you're doing. So I tweet every time I have a new podcast episode out. You can apply this every time you have a new blog post out or a new article out that you post on your website. And so with this, I'm posting, it has a photo. I also am linking to the person that I interviewed for my podcast. I have his Twitter handle, and I also have the Twitter handle for the company he works for. And so I'm doing this to grab attention because people are going to see this. It has a photo. That's attention grabbing. Studies have shown that by having a photo in the tweet, you get 313% more engagement. So it's really important that when you're tweeting, try to have a photo or some kind of image in there. So this is actually an article that's on my website. So I always have some type of image that goes with this. So that's where it pulls the image. I've got the link so I can, tag the person I'm talking about. They're going to get a notification, which is great because then they'll be more likely to like and retweet this tweet, which will get me more attention. There's also a tweet that we call a pinned tweet. And a pinned tweet allows you to have a tweet at the top of your profile. So before, when I was showing you the different profiles, this can be the very first tweet that somebody sees. So you have the ability to pin it. And this can be a tweet that you send out right now. It can be a tweet you did earlier today. It can even be something you did last week. You could take any tweet that you've already put out there and pin it on your page. And in the screenshot, it's not showing it, but underneath here, there would be 3 little dots. So this is if you're on a browser. There would be 3 little dots. You click on it, and then one of the options would be to pin it to your page. You can also take it down. You can add something else instead. You have a lot of flexibility. If you're doing it on your phone, you have the ability to very easily pin from there. Now, why would we pin something? Well, as I mentioned before, this is going to put it at the top of your page. When we get down to the analytics and I show you in the example the numbers that I get each month, I get a lot of people that go to my profile, and when you start looking at your analytics, you're going to see how many people are visiting, twitter.com/ and your Twitter handle, how many people are going there. And it's important to have a really good tweet be that very first one they see. And in this example, I used one that people like. I call it my Twitter secret sauce. This was a photo taken at a presentation I was doing in person at a conference last year. That's why it doesn't look that great. It's kind of funny looking because it's taken at an angle at a big screen where somebody was, I was doing a PowerPoint and they took a photo. But I call this my Twitter secret sauce. I get great response from it, so I leave it up, and it's worked well for me. But you can do this for events, anything that you're tweeting out where you want it to stay at the top to grab attention.
Madeline, I'm sorry to interrupt. Paige has a question. As a research center, how can you balance sharing research or products and staying engaged while still remaining academic and professional?
Well, you're going to have to experiment and try things and see what works, to get that balance. I have found for me that by tweeting a lot and asking questions and just talking to people, that I get lots of engagement. I'm showing examples of like what I'm pushing out. But on the flip side of this, you can go out there and go find tweets to reply to and be engaging with people out there. But you got to find that balance between what you're putting out there, what you're sharing, and that's why it's important to look at your analytics to see what's working and what's not. I hope that kind of answered your question with that. You have to try things and see what works. That's the best way. That's always my best response to this. I have tried so many different things over the years. Now, I tweet a lot. I tweet probably anywhere between 50 to 100 tweets a day. But I'm a power user. I do this a lot. But it works for what I'm trying to do. People see me as a resource. And what I've found is that if you want to be seen as a resource in the industry with what you're doing, share lots of information that helps people. I share articles about social media and about Twitter every day. So people know that if they go to my profile, they're going to learn. They're going to get some great learning of different things in social media. I also share what's new, what's happening right now with Twitter and social media, different social media profiles. So it's really a great way to grab attention by being that resource. So try different things and see what works. What I'm showing here is motivational quotes. I know not everybody likes this, but some people do. Some people really like getting that little boost of motivation. I like sharing these because every time I do, I get great response from people. I get lots of likes and retweets. People reach out to me and thank me for sharing. So I have found these to work really well. It may work for you, it may not. So this goes back to experimenting and seeing, what you can do that works. You can do what's called a retweet with a quote. So for those of you here that have used Twitter, you're familiar with retweeting something. And let me show you, here's here's something that I retweeted. So it's basically taking a tweet that somebody put out, I click the retweet button, and I've now shared it on my own profile. What you can now do, and I really love this feature that Twitter added, where you can do what we call a retweet with a quote. It allows you to retweet the article, but you can have a commentary above it where you can say whatever you want. You still have the 140 characters to deal with, so you still have some space. And in this one, I just took this tweet and I said, excellent article, thank you for sharing. So I wanted to give a commentary and go above and beyond of just retweeting the tweet like this. Now, another very popular way to tweet is tweeting out other people's content. And so that tweet I just showed you here, what I could do instead is tweet all of this, but tweet it from me instead of sharing it from them. I'm going to do it from me. So in this example here, there was an article I read. This is the title of the article, Twitter to Stop Counting Photos and Links Towards 140 Character Limit. I love the photograph that they had on the article. It's very attention grabbing, right? So all I did is I tweeted this from my account instead of retweeting it. And this gets me a lot of attention as well. So if you look at my profile, you're going to see that I'm doing this a lot. I find articles, I read lots of articles, I read lots of blogs every day to educate myself. And when I see things that I think will resonate with my audience, because I feel like I have a good grasp for who my audience is. And that's something that's important too. You want to get a good idea of who are your followers. What are they interested in? You can do Twitter polls now, and I'm going to show that next. Twitter polls are a great way to ask questions of your community and get response. I did a poll recently where I said, what is the best benefit to participating in a Twitter chat? I was just curious to see what kind of response. Since I've been hosting Twitter chats for the last 5 years, I thought, let me poll my community and see what kind of response. It's very easy to do a poll when you're composing a tweet. There's a little thing that you can click on that does the poll, and it gives you the opportunity to ask your question. You can have up to 4 responses you put in, and then you hit it and it goes, and people can start immediately responding. And I thought this was very valuable to know that 58% said learn, that was their biggest benefit to being on a Twitter chat. So ask your community questions to help you get a really good feel for who they are and what they're interested in. The other thing, and this is what's really popular right now, are GIFs. GIFs are those little animations. You're probably noticing them more and more on Twitter because they're becoming super popular. And the reason why is that Twitter made it very easy for us to do. When you're composing a tweet, you'll now see a little button that says GIF, and when you click on it, there's millions of them in there. You can just scroll through. They have different headings of different types, or there's a search box, and you can type in a very specific, and it will show you lots of different ones, and you can put it into your tweet and have some fun with it. This is one, you don't see the animation, this is just a screenshot, but imagine a bunch of penguins jumping up and down and coming down a hill. You can't help but have a smile on your face when you see that animation. And it's something I posted with my Twitter chat where I said, this is how I feel hanging with my awesome peeps on the Twitter Smarter chat each week. So it's fun, it makes people smile. I've been using these a lot for responding to people. When people tweet me and say something like, thank you for this article, it was really helpful, instead of just tweeting and say, oh, thank you so much, I appreciate your kind words, I'll say that, and then I'll go find a GIF that's fun, that will make them smile. And I'll just type in, for the keyword, I'll type in thanks or thank you, and a lot of cute ones come up, and I pick one, and I know that I'm going to give them a smile. So GIFs are becoming really popular. They're fun, so I definitely recommend playing with those. And as I mentioned before, you just have to experiment and try things. What you want to keep in mind, what works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. What works for you may not work for me. So it's really important to try different things. Now, when it comes to curating and distributing your content, there's some different ways of doing this on Twitter. Of course, there's the live real-time tweets, and those are the tweets you're doing from your computer or from your phone. There's scheduled tweets, and that's where you could use a third-party site. There are different ones. There's one called Hootsuite that's real popular. There's another one called Buffer and TweetDeck. Those are the three most popular ones. There are some others. But these can be used to schedule tweets. And what I mean by that, for those of you that are not sure what I'm talking about, is I can read an article and say, okay, this is good information. I want to tweet this. But I just tweeted something 5 minutes ago. I don't want another tweet to go out right now. I could take that article and I could use Hootsuite or Buffer or TweetDeck, whichever one that I like. I say if you haven't used any of these, go try them. They're all free and see which one you like better. And what you can do is take that article that you don't want to tweet right now and you could put it into Hootsuite or put it into Buffer and schedule it to go out later. Now, I personally prefer Buffer, and the way I have mine set up is I put in a schedule of different times of day. I say, okay, I want tweets to go out at 10 a.m. and 12:14 p.m. and 3:35 p.m. Like, just put in whatever times you want during the day, and morning, day, and night. And when you just add things into it, whether it's articles you find, whether it's a promotion you want to put out, whatever you put in there will just go out at the next scheduled time. Or you can put in a very specific time and say, well, I want this specific tweet to go out at this specific time. You get a lot of flexibility with these tools. So you can play around with it and try it. There's also what we call content curation apps. And you may be going, well, I'm trying to figure out where can I find all this content that I could share. There's a site I really like called Feedly. And Feedly allows you to go take different blogs, different RSS feeds, different things out there on the internet and put it into this one place called Feedly. They have a free version and a paid version. I've been using the free version forever. I don't think you would need the paid unless you're wanting some extra services they provide. But what I'm able to do is I'm able to put in all these different blog posts I read that are different from the different sources. So like, since I'm in the social media world, there's a blog called Social Media Examiner, and there's another one called Social Media Today. So I go and I pull all of these in there. Just one time, I just put them all in there. And what it will do is every day I can go into Feedly, and articles that they post on these blogs will all be in this one place. So it allows me to go to one site to get all of these articles, and I can easily read an article there, click on a button, and I've now scheduled it into my Buffer because they're integrated with Buffer and Hootsuite and these other tools. So it's a great site. I highly recommend that for content curation. There's some other ones out there that are really cool. One's called Nuzzle that I like. There's another one called Juice. Nuzzle is really neat. It creates a news feed based on what your friends are reading and sharing. So what it does is it cuts through the noise. When you're on Twitter and you see there's so much noise out there and you're trying to figure out where are all the good articles that your friends are posting, this is a great tool that will do that, and it's free. And these are all just Feedly.com, Nuzzle.com. Juice is juice.li is the link for that. Juice is a pretty interesting one that I really like. It's only for iOS. That means it's only available for iPhone and iPad. They do not have it available on a desktop, on the internet, and they do not have it available for Android. But I like this because it finds stories to share, like articles to share. It studies your Twitter, like who you're following on Twitter, and it will bring you every day a selection of articles matched to your interests. So because with me as social media, I can go into this app every day on my phone, and there's going to be 10 articles related to social media, and I can go through and read them, and I might find some I want to share out to Twitter. So I found it to be really useful. And then there's what we call repurposing content. You may have heard this term before, repurposing. Instead of doing something over and over and over, let's say I am over at Facebook doing a Facebook Live video. That's becoming really popular right now. So I go make a video doing Facebook Live, and I want to go and take that and put it in other places. I could go take that video, it saves it to my phone, and I can now go take that video and go put a clip of that into my Twitter. Or I could do a Twitter video, and when I'm done with posting it on Twitter, I could, there'll be a copy of it on my phone, and I can now take that video and go put it on Facebook and go put it on Instagram. There's so much flexibility with repurposing content rather than doing an individual video or an individual post on each one of these. You could take that thing you posted or that video or whatever, or photograph, and go and repurpose it onto the others. Now we're going to get into Twitter lists. And Twitter lists are great. This is such a great tool. If you're not utilizing this on Twitter, you want to start doing this today. Twitter lists are basically a curated group of Twitter accounts. You can create lists and make them public or private. You have a lot of flexibility with them. You can also subscribe to lists that are created by others, and I'm going to show some examples of that. And when you're viewing a Twitter list, basically what you're going to do is you're going to see a stream of tweets from the accounts on the list. So I'm going to show you in a moment that the center went and created a Twitter list of all the speakers for this conference, which is so great. I was so thrilled that they did that. So you're able to go and view it. You can subscribe to it. So I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But the best thing about Twitter lists, hands down, is that it allows you to stay organized. If you follow a lot of people, when you start really getting into Twitter and you're following a lot of people, every time you go look at your feed, it's going to just be more and more tweets because it's tweets of people you follow. That's how Twitter works. Just like on Facebook, you see your news feed on Facebook. These are posts from all your friends that you follow on Facebook. It's the same thing on Twitter. So what happens is over time, it just gets to be too much. So a Twitter list will allow you to organize it, and there's different ways I'm going to show you to organize. But real quick, when you're on a profile on Twitter, let me zoom in a little bit here. You'll see, if they have Twitter lists, you'll see that it says lists over there on the right. And you can click on it. What happens when you click on it, it's going to show you all of their Twitter lists, the public ones. They can have private ones. If they have private ones, you're not going to see them. But if they have public ones, you'll see them. So what the center did is they went and created this, and I definitely encourage everybody to go over here and subscribe. Click on this, and I'm going to show you how you subscribe. And that way, you can go and see all of the tweets from all of the speakers. So if you look at the top left, it shows 13 members because there's 13 speakers, or 13 speakers that they added on here. And right now it shows no subscribers, but you see there's a button over there on the left that says subscribe. And if you click on that, you'll now have access to this. You can easily access it from your own Twitter. You don't have to keep coming over here. It'll be with your list. When you're on your profile and you click on list, it'll be down below your list will be all the ones you subscribe to. But here's what's great about a list. So I click on this, and now I'm going to see, in this screenshot, it's showing all of mine. For whatever reason, when I did the screenshot, it just happened to be the time of day where it's a bunch of mine. But you're going to see the tweets from all of the members. If they're active on Twitter, you'll see them. It'll be the most recent at the top, and then, works its way down. And it makes it so much easier to access this information rather than trying to go seek out all the different speakers individually. This makes it a lot easier. When you click on members, there's 13 members, you can now scroll through and see all the individual people that were added. And this is great because you can easily go follow. You see the follow button. You see all this information on each one. This is why your bio is so important, because look at that. Look at the ones, which ones stand out. And before, when I was talking about hashtags, and when you have a profile, like you can see a couple of these have at Ontario EDU, see how those stand out because they're links, because it takes you somewhere. So that's why you want to work on having a really good bio that stands out, because just from looking at a list of people on the Twitter list here, this listing, look who's standing out. And I'm not trying to say, anything negative about it. I'm just saying, look at what pops on there. And that kind of gives you a great idea of like what you can do for your Twitter. Now, I noticed that when I go over to Annex and I click on list, they have this list here that looks very interesting. But here's the thing you want to keep in mind. Over to the right, that's not their logo. That's a logo for another organization. So what that tells me is that they subscribe to that list. So they subscribe to somebody else's list, and so it's going to show up on their profile. And this can be really helpful when you're scrolling through and you're looking at other lists on other profiles. Now let's dig in a little bit deeper. When we go in here, it has the name of the list at the top. You have the option to put a description in, and so a description is important if it's public, because you can see at the top there, it tells you what exactly this is, the members of this community. And you can see you can easily subscribe, which is, like I said, that can be really helpful, because the beauty is they've already curated a list. This one has 98 members. They've done all the work. And so you could just come over here and subscribe. The only thing to keep in mind is that when you subscribe, you cannot add other people to it. You can't take people away. It's whatever that person or that organization or that company put together. It's their list, but subscribing to it just makes it a lot easier for you. And so when I click on members, the 98 members, I could easily scroll through and see who all is on this list and find people to connect with. And there's 41 subscribers. There's 41 people who feel like there's value in this list. So I can click on that and see who all of the subscribers are, and that could be also a way to connect with more people. So this gives you an idea that there's a lot of power with these Twitter lists. And we're going to real quickly look at the different types, because there's a variety of ways you could utilize Twitter lists. You could go create one and call it influencers or industry leaders, and put, you go out, you go all the different Twitter profiles and add them to your Twitter list. You might want to make it private. You might just want it for your eyes only. You have the option to make it public or private. You can make one for industry news, so you can just stay on top of industry news. Conference speakers, we looked at that example, which I think is a great way if you are hosting a conference. People who retweet you, you might want to just stay connected to anybody that retweets you and just go put them into a list. And that would be something I would do, that would be private list. If you have customers or clients, you can make a list and keep it private and just keep a growing list of customers. And if you have employees and you want to have a list and keep track of them on Twitter, you see here there's a lot of flexibility. I know plenty of people that set it up for their competitors. They have competitors, they make a private list so they can just keep tabs on them easily on Twitter. Now let's look at how we set up a Twitter list. You go back over to your list, and you'll see that there's a button that says create a new list. It's very easy to do. You click on that, and then you give it a name. When you're giving it a name, you can have up to 25 character spaces, so it's not a lot of room. You have to keep it pretty concise, and you cannot have it start with a number at the beginning. Cannot start with a number. And then, of course, optional for the description. It's going to default to public. You see how the public is already clicked. If you want it to be private, be sure to click private, because it's defaulted to public. I have lots of private lists. They're just for my eyes only. I've created a variety of lists. But I also have lists that are public because I realize I'm curating really great information that other people would find value in. And the other thing I want to mention is that when you're creating Twitter lists that are public, it can grab attention, because when you add somebody to it, they're going to get a notification you added them. And you might want to have a name that's catchy. And so I have one that's called Social Media Smarties. I initially called it Social Media, and I thought, well, that's kind of boring. And somebody gets a notification, Madeline Sklar added you to her social medias list. I think it's a little bit more exciting that Madeline Sklar added you to her Social Media Smarties list. So just keep in mind, when you add somebody to your public list, they will get a notification. So you can have a little bit of fun with this to get attention. So let's look at how you add somebody to a list. When you go to their profile, so I'm logged into my account here, so I'm going over to the center's profile, and you can see that it says add or remove from list. So I can just click on that. I can go to any profile. I can add. I can take them off. I have the flexibility to do that, and I can start building these Twitter lists. So as I said, this is such a great way to organize, so I highly recommend this. Let's look over at Twitter chats. I got a lot to cover, so I hope I'm not going too fast. I'm trying to cover a lot in this period of time here. Twitter chats are my absolute favorite. If you want to connect with people, this is the way to do it, is Twitter chats. It's a way to have a public conversation that revolves around a hashtag. It's all about the hashtag. Kind of a tweetable, I think, if somebody wants to tweet that. It's like, it's all about the hashtag. Really, that's what it is. It's a community of like-minded people that meet regularly, and it's usually once a week. My Twitter chat's once a week. Most of them you'll see are once a week. Sometimes they'll do one every other week or once a month, but you'll typically see once a week. The hashtag, if you're not familiar with the hashtag, it's a word or group of words using what we call the hash or the pound sign, and that's how you put that together, hashtag and the word or words. I found two hashtags that were being used in the industry where they were hosting a chat, lead chat. They did it one time back in June. They might have done it some other times, but I saw that the last one was in June, hosted by Lead Center. And then NDI just started a chat recently. I thought those were really interesting. So I have a couple of screenshots just to show you what it is like. So we go over to Lead Center. And if you go to the hashtag, you'll see back in June they did this. So this is the starting of the chat. It's like our chat starts now, and they have a nice image to grab attention. And they start off with some tips on joining. Many times a chat will have like some rules or tips for joining, and they're saying be sure to use the hashtag. If you're participating, let's say this chat's going on right now, if you do not put the hashtag in, nobody sees your tweet. It's all about the hashtag. For 1 hour, everybody is just watching the tweets that revolve around that. You can do this at Twitter. I use a site that's free called TweetChat, tweetchat.com. Super easy way to participate in a Twitter chat. The other thing that's important is that the questions, when they're asking them, they're labeled Q1, Q2, Q3 for each question. When you're participating, you want to answer A1 for your answer. For question number 2, A2. When you're watching tweet chats, you'll get the hang of it real fast. You'll see how everybody, it's good to just go watch one and go see how they're doing it. And it's a great way to learn. For those of you that are absolute beginners or have never really used Twitter, Twitter chats are, I think, the best way to learn Twitter because you kind of jump in and you start learning Twitter really, really quick. It's a fun way to do it. This was an interesting tweet I wanted to show. So here's a question. It's Q3. They asked the question, okay? And then these are some of the responses from that question. And you can see that somebody put A3, which is the proper way to do it. And you can see that there's conversation. They're using the hashtag, but the person at the bottom did not. So she responded to the person above her, Rebecca. So Rebecca, she replied to her, so she would get the tweet, but those watching the hashtag are not going to see it. So it's really important to use the hashtag. So what are the benefits to participating in a chat? You get seen and heard. You can connect with people in your industry. You're sharing and receiving valuable information. My Twitter chat is all about Twitter tips. So every week I have a guest come on and we share lots of Twitter tips, but also participants that feel comfortable, that feel like they can contribute to the conversation, they jump in and they share as well. So we have a whole bunch of people sharing lots of valuable information, and then plenty of people tell me they just sit and watch and take notes. So Twitter chats, there's so many different benefits to it, whether you're on the receiving or you're out there sharing, and it's a great way to build credibility. I've been hosting, the one I have right now, I've been hosting for a year, and because it's Twitter tips, people see me as the leader for Twitter. So it's pretty cool. It's a great way to build up credibility. We're going to move
Madeline,
along to, yeah.
Point out, I had a good comment or question about either posting the questions ahead of time for your Twitter chat or sort of ongoing as the chat is going. And her comment was that she appreciated seeing them ahead of time. Did you have any thoughts?
So posting questions ahead of time. Oh, you mean like before the chat starts and actually sharing what the questions are going to be? Is that what you mean, Jessica? Okay. Yeah. Some chats do it, some don't. I've seen some chats where what they do is a day or two before, they'll go ahead and list all the questions, which, kind of lets people know here's what we're going to be asking, and so people can be prepared. I usually don't. I just usually don't have time, and so I just haven't made the time to do it. I kind of have, and I don't even do mine ahead of time. I have the questions all laid out, and I send it to my guest, and my guest is prepared. I like to answer them just on the spot with everybody else. I just think it's fun. But it just depends on the host and how they're doing it. Everybody's different. So that's just something to keep in mind with that. Were there any other questions on that? I know I'm getting really low on time, and I got two more. These other two will go quick.
Yeah, no worries. And Anna had a question. Do you have any suggestions for how researchers can best utilize or manage their time while they're using social media? Or
how to best utilize and manage our time when using this? So, well, I mean, that's a really broad question. So, the last thing I'm going to show are tools. And I think tools will allow you to really manage your time on social media. And these tools that I show are not just for Twitter, like Hootsuite and Buffer. These tools can really help you manage so much. I mean, there's some really great ones, Sprout Social, that does everything. It's like a one and all. Like and it's not free, but you use that and it'll do everything, and it keeps you extremely organized, helps you manage your time when you're using all the different social media sites. So we're going to be going into tools in just a moment, so hopefully that will help answer your question better. Let's look at measuring your Twitter impact. And so we're going to look at analytics, and you can easily analyze your tweets. I think a lot of people I've been talking to people about this, like, what do you think about the analytics? And people are like, what analytics? I didn't even know they're there. Twitter gives you the ability to easily monitor your tweets and how everything is working out with these analytics. Now, there are other third-party sites that will do analytics as well. I actually use one to monitor the hashtag for my Twitter chat called Keyhole, and there's hash tracking, and there's all these different third-party tools. But you want to view your Twitter analytics regularly because it helps you understand your followers. It also helps you understand if your content's making an impact. We're going to look at that in just a moment. I would recommend you check your analytics weekly, at least once a month if you're not doing it weekly. So let's look at how we go and do this. There are two ways to get to your Twitter analytics. You can just simply type in a browser and put analytics.twitter.com, and that'll take you right to it. If you're at twitter.com on a browser, and these are the ways to do it is on a browser. If you're on the Twitter mobile app, you cannot get to analytics. They do not provide analytics. They have a new app out called Dashboard, and you can do it from that Dashboard app. I'll show that in just a moment. But if you go into twitter.com, go into the pull-down menu, you'll see where you can get to your analytics. So you see right here in the screenshot in the pull-down menu, but also when you're on your page on Twitter, on the right side, you also see where it says view your top tweets. And you can click on that and it'll take you right to all your top tweets, the one that performed the best. But let's look at when you click on analytics, where that takes you. There is so much information on this page, it's just going to blow you away. So when you first come on here, it's going to show you your 28-day summary. And this is going to show you how many tweets you've done in the last 20. Now, keep in mind, I'm a power user, so my numbers are going to be pretty high. But it shows me in the last 28 days how many tweets I've done, how many tweet impressions I've gotten, how many profile visits. Remember earlier I mentioned how many people have come to your profile? This tells me that 36,000 people came to my profile, or that's how many profile visits I got. That's a lot. So it really tells me that having that pinned tweet is so important because so many people come to my profile. Lets me know how many mentions, how many followers. I get a lot of information here. And then when I scroll down, it shows me so far for the month. It'll tell you, from the first of the month till now, how far along you've come, how, the top tweets, top mentions. When you scroll further down, it'll show all the previous months. It's a great way to gather information on how you're doing. If you go to your top tweets, which I showed you from your Twitter, your main page on Twitter, but also if you look at the top, once we're in the analytics, when we first click on analytics and we're on the page I just showed you here, at the very top there's a menu, and if you click on tweets, it will actually show you your top tweets. And it shows me that I had a tweet that had 87,000 impressions. So that's pretty interesting. And I can click on view tweet activity, and it's going to show me the details of that particular tweet. This can be really helpful with identifying what's working. And in my case, it's because I'm tweeting something that's a high-profile Twitter chat, and they shared it, and their people shared it, and it went crazy viral. Lots of information here. So you want to measure your engagement regularly because this will really help you gauge your Twitter success. And do this through your analytics here that I'm showing you, but if you're using some of these other, Hootsuite offers analytics, Buffer, Sprout Social, Manage Flitter, Agora Pulse. There's so many third-party sites now that offer analytics as part of their package with what they're doing. So definitely check that out. The last item we're going to look at are Twitter tools, and we'll have a little bit of Q&A after this. So tools allow you to be incredibly organized. It helps you be productive. If I did not have Twitter tools, I would not be able to do half of what I'm doing over there on Twitter. It saves you so much time. My motto for the last 20 years has been work smarter, not harder. And I find that tools for social media, especially with Twitter, allow me to do that. I can schedule, I can curate great content, and I'm going to show you a list of what I recommend. I'm going to go through them real quick here, and at the end, I'll give you the links to all of them. So when I get to that page, you can screenshot it or take a picture so you'll have all the links. Hootsuite, I've been using Hootsuite since they came out many, many years ago. It's one of my favorite tools. It's great for listening and scheduling. And when I say listening, what I mean by that is when you go set up these Twitter lists, you can go to Twitter and go look at them, one at a time and go to each list. If you use Hootsuite, Hootsuite has columns. So just imagine all these columns going across. On my big Mac monitor here, I have like 5 of them going across. When I'm on my laptop, it's like 3. It depends on your screen size. But imagine having 5 of these columns and each one being your different Twitter lists. I can very quickly and easily scroll through and see who's talking about what's going on with all these different lists I have. So Hootsuite is a great way to listen to what's going on and for scheduling. So I think it's a really great tool. And then Buffer is a great tool for scheduling. I use that to schedule a lot of my tweets. So when I mentioned before, I go into Feedly and look at all the different blog posts that are out today, all the different articles that are out. The ones that I want to share with my Twitter community, I'll just schedule them through Buffer, very quick and easy. And as I mentioned before, Buffer has really good analytics too, and I really like using theirs to see how my tweets are performing. And I mentioned before Nuzzle, great for content curation. I mean, it's such a great way to cut through the noise and really you get a news feed based on what your friends are sharing. Really, really great. I highly recommend checking it out. You can just go over to the website, and then they also have an app. And then Feedly, I mentioned before, content curation. This helps me right here stay so organized with all of that different content that's out there. If I had to go to every one of these sites individually, it would take me so much time to do. So if that's what you're currently doing, you go to all these different websites to go read their blogs and read the articles, you go put them into Feedly one time, you just do it one time, you're done. Now you just have this one site with all that content. It makes it so easy. And you can always add more to it. You can edit. You have a lot of flexibility. And then I mentioned Tweet Chat. This is a great way to participate in a Twitter chat. So if you want to go to a Twitter chat, go to tweetchat.com, you put in the hashtag, and then all the tweets are just there in real time, and you can just participate from there. It's a great way to connect with people. The reason why I love Tweet Chat is because it will automatically put the hashtag in for you. I mentioned before that the hardest thing to remember when you're on a Twitter chat is you've got to put the hashtag in. It's so easy to forget. I've had so many Twitter chats I've hosted where somebody new comes on, and at the beginning they introduce themselves. They say, I'm so excited to be here, and then nothing. We don't hear from them anymore. And at the end of the chat, they come back. Oh, I've been tweeting all this time, but I forgot to put the hashtag in. I'm so sorry, I missed out. We didn't see their tweets because we're just watching what's being said through the hashtag. So Tweet Chat is great because it puts the hashtag in for you. Super great. I think you guys would really like that. Bitly, I mentioned before, great for shortening the link. So I recommend that when you want to shorten it. It's also great when you're tweeting. So when you want to put out a tweet and you want to shorten. So not just for the bio, I mentioned for the bio, but also in your tweets, you might want to shorten a link. That's a great way to do it. And then just a little while ago, I mentioned Twitter dashboard. So when you're on the Twitter app on mobile, on your phone, they don't give us analytics there, but they have this new app. It's called Twitter Dashboard. You can download it, or you can do it on your computer. You have the ability to do dashboard.twitter.com. I'm going to show you the link in just a moment. And it's really interesting. Like, it gives you all of Twitter plus the analytics for the app, but you can also do it through the browser. I don't, because I get everything I need at twitter.com on a browser. But interesting for an app, though, if you want to have it on the go on an app where you can do everything on Twitter plus the analytics. So here are the links to all of these sites that I mentioned. I would highly recommend trying them out. They're all free. That's what makes it great.
Madeline, I'm sorry to cut you short. We do only have about 30 seconds or so until we're scheduled to go to our next presentation.
Yeah, and this was really it. Yeah, I just was going to do a recap.
Sure,
yeah. See, we're down to the end. And so really just a summary, these are the things we covered. I strongly believe that if you follow this that I went over, that this is going to give you a great strategy for Twitter success. So thank you all so much for listening. Real quick, I would love for you to take my Twitter challenge. If you go over to my website, put /KTDRR, I have that Twitter secret sauce that was on my pinned tweet. And I have some things on there that if you try doing it every day for a week, I guarantee you're going to see some great success. It's a lot of the items I already went over here. So definitely check that out if you get the chance. But thank you all so much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us, Madeline. We really appreciate it. And I know people probably have some comments and questions, so feel free to hang on to those for our last presentation and session today, which is going to be our interactive discussion, where Kathleen Murphy, the director of KTDRR, will be joining us, and I'll go ahead and pass off the mic to her.
Sure, thanks, Stephen. Hello, everyone. For the rest of our time together this afternoon, we want to think through all the presenters that we've heard. I know there are some questions that I'm sure are going to come up because on Twitter, since that's what's fresh in your mind. But keep on. We can't encourage you too much to participate in the chat room, and I'm glad so many of you are still with us. Before we get going on the discussion, I did just want to take an opportunity to say thanks to some folks, introduce our reactors. We have a couple of polls ourselves, so assuming you're not polled out yet, and then we'll turn to some discussion questions that we have. But Stephen, first of all, thanks to you, our moderator, did a great job. And we have some behind-the-scenes folks. Joanne Starks, for example, organized this panel for this afternoon. So she's been working with her friends in Canada and Cami and Madeline for literally months. And thanks, of course, to the presenters. I think we all have a lot of tips, and I know there's been tons of little URLs and resources there in the chat that we've got a lot to put into action and help us figure out how to measure the impact of that action. I did, just in case some people joined us later in the afternoon, I thought perhaps the presenters could briefly say hello, so people who may not have listened in earlier will recognize your voices. Cami Hoysa, are you still with us on the line? You just kind of...
I sure am. Yep, I'm here. Hi,
okay.
This is Cami.
And Linda Nicholson?
Yep, hi, it's Linda.
And Linda, are you there on the line by yourself, or did Sophia and Dawood, were they able to stay?
I'm also here. Dawood is also still here.
Okay, so that's Dawood, folks. Madeline, you want to just say hey in case we did get someone in the last 2 seconds?
I'm here, Madeline Sklar. Thank you.
Okay. So I think if you have been with us all afternoon, you've heard those, but there are some new voices that are going to join us. We've invited a few people to the discussion. Some of them you're going to recognize from the chat, but for example, here's Jess Chaikin.